DIY.
Okay, so on Instagram, I saw this clip from Ray Daniels. Ray Daniels is a well-known music executive, and he has a podcast. It's a lot of great gems that he shares on this podcast. In this clip, Ray Daniels is talking about how he's glad that Busta Rhymes recently in the BET Awards got his Lifetime Achievement Award, probably one of the most famous animated voices in hip-hop. He's glad that he finally got his roses, but he feels like a part of the reason it took so long for him to get this kind of acknowledgement is because of how much he's animated within his music. The caption even reads, "Does hip-hop have something against animated rappers? Why aren't they given the same amount of respect as other categories of rap?"
I kind of feel bad for Busta because he's so important, but the game for some reason, and like Jay-Z says, let's say I'm not animated like say a Busta Rhymes. I don't know if it was the animation part, because if you think about animated rappers, they never really are put in the top anything category. Like Luda can rap his ass off, but he's animated. Big Sean can rap his ass off, he's animated. Busta, incredible, but he's animated. And I think hip hop has something against animated rappers, not taking them serious, putting them in top anything. Because if you think about, no one puts animated rappers in the top of anything, which is interesting to me. And I don't know why. But when I saw Busta, I was like, I'm glad he's getting his flowers, but he should have been got that.
Facts.
Definitely.
Man.
Now let's identify what an animated rapper is. You have a lot of rappers that make a career kind of rapping closer to their speaking voice. No matter what emotion that they're exhibiting, it's very little difference in the way that the inflection in their voice goes. The Jay-Z's, you think about the Nas, you think about Biggie, you think about Rakim, you think about all these artists that had a very straightforward, I don't want to say monotonish because it did have some emotions within it, but it did not stray too much from their speaking voice. So my initial thought was, well, maybe hip hop feels like the overly animated rappers are the ones who are trying to sell their craft or oversell their rapping, and people are turned off from that, who feel like it's corny. But then I saw a comment here that I feel like dove even deeper into the possibilities of what it may be, at least from the standpoint of hip hop. Hip hop has something against well-rounded artists. They don't want you to be amazing at everything, because once you are, you're corny. Folks love mediocrity because it doesn't make them feel small in comparison. That was another angle that I think is really interesting, but I don't want to go too deep into that. I do want to go over here and play this clip of Ludacris. And he said Jay-Z tried to give him a gem about how his over-the-top animated music videos, probably in my opinion, some of the most classic hip-hop videos, especially of the era that he was the biggest, might be a reason why people don't take him serious, at least within the culture of hip hop.
Even Jay-Z was one of the ones that said, he don't think I get the lyrical credit that I deserve because
of the
visuals. So, the answer to that is, like, people ask me, why don't you think get the credit? It's, I play too goddamn much. That's what I do. And I wouldn't have it any other way. That's why my name is Ludacris. It's beyond crazy. It's wild. It's ridiculous. I like post effects and augmenting reality, big ass shoes, a big ass chain, and bobblehead and all that. So it's like, I get it. I can't be mad at it. I just have to show the multifaceted aspects of myself, and I actually love that.
I mean, I really hope that there is a day that that's not a thing. When Ludacris was at his height, I remember being in high school, when he was at his height, he was the conversation of hip hop. No matter what he did, what he dropped, it was so polarizing, it was so different, it was colorful. He would still have these bars that were able to be relatable in it. He was a lot of things to a lot of people, and he showed you the range that he had. And then when he got into acting, he further showed you even more of his skill set. But unfortunately, for a culture that traditionally holds up very highly the rapper that raps in a certain comfortable, smooth, conversational tone, that doesn't always get celebrated. If anything, there's a lot of folks who may feel like it's clownish. I went deep down this rabbit hole, but it led me to an article here on Pitchfork that recently dropped from a writer named Jason Green. A reason that I think is attached to why people navigate to voices that are very monotonish. Well, this writer has a theory, and it's called the rise of disassociation music. Everyone is disassociating over the past few years. It's become an open source cultural term, ripe for applying to all kind of circumstances where people feel the need to turn off and tune out. So what's happening? The easy answer is everything. A pandemic, school shootings, the climate crisis, looming recession, the collapse of democracies in the existing world order. The response that many have to all of this is to crawl inside a safer space to find refuge from the chaos. The world is teeming with threats to our physical, psychological, and emotional well-being, and in order to feel safe and secure, we've had to get a bit more resourceful than usual. Enter disassociation, the response at the root of so much trauma. There are music listeners these days who find that the music that is most enjoyable for them is music that is not attached to their current reality. In fact, it's disassociated, it's detached from their current reality, and it allows them to enjoy the sonics of what they're hearing. That is something that a lot of people are tapping into for their comfort music. Monotone delivery has been present in rap at least as far back as Rakim in the late 80s, but even taking that into account, there is a particular proliferation of dead-eyed cool right now. The late South Central LA rapper Draco the Ruler spent years hounded by the justice system, cycling in and out of prison as the DA filed and refiled increasingly trumped up charges. He released mixtape after mixtape of surgical, completely emotionless rap music. His lyrics often mocked overt displays of emotion as meaningless, performative, and even pointless. They even talked about Swedish rapper and SoundCloud rapper Young Lean, a man with a kid's face who has called himself a human mannequin. Alienation and disassociation have been central to his music ever since he first got noticed in 2013. If there were any bottled feelings in Young Lean's music, they gave up the struggle long ago. All right, so why does all of this even link up? I think this last part of the article brings it all together. In general, whenever human history darkens, this impulse to obscure meaning, to flatten effect, to don expressive mask emerges. There's a huge segment of the population of music consumers, music listeners, human beings in general, who are seeking out art that is almost devoid of emotion, or at least disassociated from the emotions that they're currently going through. Maybe perhaps all of that emotion that is embedded in these rapper voices, all of this animation, maybe that's making some people feel things that they don't want to feel in the moment. Maybe all of that energy, all that care that goes into it is something that actually turns a segment of human beings off, which to me, I could not understand for the life of me. I think that is probably part of the reason why it was always meant for me to be more successful producer than artist. I love writing. I love being an artist, but I cannot get on a song and give you a monotone voice the entire time. I listen to that and be like, that's Diet Curtis King. I couldn't do it, but I understand that in doing that, there's probably a lot more people that I would turn to my music. It's probably the same conversation that on a larger level, obviously, that a Busta Rhymes and a Ludacris has, is that, well, at some point you have to ask the question, why does it matter to be considered one of the greatest lyricists of all time? All right, that's hip hop conversation. That's culture conversation, which is very important. But at some point you got to think about things outside of that, especially when that's not reserved for someone that is in your lane as an animated rapper. At some point you got to start questioning not only your impact and your legacy being bigger than just your ability to put lyrics together, but also your ability to make a segment of the audience feel something, because there are many, many, many people who want to feel something. You still see these artists, these animated rappers who are able to have stadiums full of people who are there for that animation. I think that article at the end really brings to light why there is such a segment of the audience that doesn't want to feel anything. Look, everything that they're surrounded by is pulling at their dopamine, especially in this era of social media, at a rate that we've never seen before. Cute baby video. Aww. A dog getting attacked by an alligator. Oh shit. Somebody having an argument inside of a Dollar Tree. Damn, that's crazy. You look at all of these different emotions that you are having as you scroll through every single one of those. At some point in time, there are going to be people that don't want to feel anything anymore. Now, that's not going to stop me, especially as a DIYer. DIY. I'm going to make the music that is in me. If you're looking to do things on a mainstream level, this is something that even as a singer, you cannot ignore. It makes you wonder how much of a toll it takes on you to hold all those emotions. And could it be that some artists keep their music devoid of emotions, keep their interviews and appearances devoid of emotions, because it's easier on the emotions they're actually feeling? I didn't know a conversation about animated rapper voices could get that deep, but damn it, this is why you come to Curtis King TV. Those are my thoughts. You let me know what you're thinking.
DIY.
DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.